welcome to the program. Time for another edition of Local Focus. I'm your host, Sebastian Noel. Basketball season still upon us here on Proview Networks. Check out our schedule at proviewNetworks.com. One of the hottest teams of the metro area right now, of course, the Volcano Vista Hawks. And one of their stars, Kenyon Aguino, is with me. Welcome to the program, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, obviously you guys are off to a great start, so let's start there. I mean, talk about your early season success.
We just put in a lot of work during the off season. Had that translate over to the season, and feel like everybody's working hard, working together, and I feel like we have a lot of depth this year.
Right. Volcano, traditionally a team that comes out of the start of the season pretty strong, right? Yeah. So are that groundwork's kind of laid during the summer? You talked about it, yeah, you play a lot, right? But it seems like that's a team that always hits the ground running. No slow starts at Volcano. Talk about that.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a part of our culture, just coming out, playing hard, like right from the jump, like so that we don't have to like pick up or like stuff like that. Just play consistently throughout the season.
So how is it, chemistry-wise, you guys already have that all going. A lot of teams you see early in the season, they're trying to find their rotations. They're trying to find, some chemistry and some gelling on the floor, but it seems like that part's already out of the way when you guys hit the floor.
Yeah, like right away after the season ended last year, we got in tournaments, started playing together. Every practice was about like our offense next year. So this year we were like during the summer, during this past off season, we were already like focused on our offense, the guys around us and stuff.
Right. Now we haven't been able to do your games this year, which has been disappointing. Partially because one, we want to do those games and see you. Secondly, I've been waiting. Now, usually I don't ask permission to drop a nickname on somebody. I just drop it during the game, and then I hope that it sticks. But so we haven't had a chance to do any of your games, and you're probably too young to know where this nickname comes from. But how does Big Smooth sound? Big Smooth, Kenyon Aguino.
Sounds
like, could you deal with that? Could you live with that if that's the nickname I dropped on the air?
I guess, yeah, I could live with that.
You don't sound like a fan of that.
They're like, when I played with FBA, like my second, third grade year, they used to call me Butter, so it's...
Okay.
It's
all right.
It's all right.
Similar, right?
Yeah, like, similar.
Okay. All right. Actually, if you Googled that nickname, that's actually a really, really good basketball player was nicknamed Big Smooth. So, but you're probably too young to know about Sam Perkins. But so, if I dropped that on you, do you think that would stick?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Honestly,
right.
I think some people would.
So here's hoping. Here's hoping that we'll be broadcasting soon, right? All right. Let's talk about you a little bit. Obviously, you just kind of burst onto the scene, right? But where did that come from? When did you start hooping?
I feel like I've been hooping since I was like really young. Just little like AYBL, like AAU tournaments, and then just hooping like my family growing up. And just little things like that.
Okay. So your first basketball memory is when? How old were you, would you say?
It's probably like 4 or 5 years old, maybe.
Okay, so you're probably, 6 feet tall at that time? So all right, what was that like, 5-year-old? What were those basketball memories like?
It was pretty cool. It was like we play on those little like mini hoops, like that 8-foot hoop. Right. So it was pretty cool, just playing with all like my friends and stuff. It was really fun.
Okay. When did you graduate up to hoops? I remember those hoops. So when did you go to the 9-foot? When did you go to the official?
It was probably like maybe 7 years old. I started playing up like first, second grade with a team in Espanola. So that was pretty cool.
When you go back to Espanola now, are you the tallest man to walk the streets of Espanola?
I would say, yeah. Me, my dad's I'm taller than my dad.
Are you?
So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. What other sports? Did you play other sports when you were young there, or just hoops?
I played baseball for a little, try that out. I played football for like 1 year.
Okay.
And that was really it.
All right, none of that. What drew you to basketball?
All my family, my mom, my dad played it. All my cousins, growing up, they were like always. I'm the youngest, so like seeing them like play high school ball, like being around that environment was pretty cool.
All right. Well, it's like an obsession, though, up north, isn't it? Like in Espanola and up there. Like, we love our hoops here in Albuquerque, but you start getting up north, and it is like an obsession.
Yeah.
So talk about that whole basketball culture up north there, growing up with that and everything.
Yeah, it's like a football. There's like a little baseball. It's a little more popular than football, but like basketball, like when you play, like the whole town goes. Like people that don't even like really know anybody, but they know about the game.
Right.
They'll go, and it's just like they pat the stands.
So were some of your first basketball maybe goals or dreams was to put on a Sun Devils uniform, or what was that? What were your early goals in basketball?
I didn't really know, honestly, because like some of my family went to Espanola, some of my family went to like McCurdy, some of my family went to SFIS, and then just I feel like just growing up and like all my friends from AU, they were playing like in Huddy. His dad was coaching Volcano, so we'd see that. Ryan was his older brother was playing at Cleveland. So like seeing like these big schools play in that environment, I feel like I just wanted to play in that.
So you went big school right away. Plus you already had those Albuquerque ties, right?
Yeah.
With AAU. So you right away you were thinking like, all right, I'm going to play in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take our first break here with Kenyon. I want to get into your freshman year, which was phenomenal, and just that whole experience of being a freshman and a key contributor. We'll be right back.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
On. Horace Day with 2. Is Martinez. Here's a long shot from Jackson. Fate is good for 3.
Ice is going to need some stops. They can't trade buckets, though.
They find the big fella again. Wood to Maddox Presser.
Presser gets this ball. Presser working against 2 guys.
Caden will motor it up the floor. Splits 2 and then gets all the way to the basket. There's another turnover. Johnson already got 6. This time right-handed layup. Yes, left hand, right. Steal for Jonah Lopez. Great. 1-on-1 on the Euro. Yes, it'll roll in, and it'll head to the line.
You know,
leaves it down on the perimeter. Stole in by Jaden Johnson. Johnson, right-hand layup, no good. There's Bynum to clean up the mess.
Opportunities for Rio Rancho.
they're doing a
Look
really
at him
good
go
job.
with the ball. Look at that.
One more here. One more steal. Bynum on the tip, and Bynum on the layup. But the most impressive Bynum thing has been Steve.
Right here.
Since it's not really a game, let's just break down the cake. Get rid of that graphic. All right, zoom in on this. Zoom in on this. This is Miss Bynum's cake here. So you have some almond like here at the bottom, right? Some almond, very light, very fluffy. You don't want that real, dense stuff. Then you get the fresh strawberries. But here's the kicker: there's the cream, the buttercream frosting, right? Because you can't buy that real cheap crap from the store that just tastes like dried sugar. You got to get that real buttercream frosting. That's what makes it, right?
Well, at 67, you saw how quick I got down and back up
and
before you.
2 slices.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So more cake and basketball after this. On the drive, Lopez. There it is. 1,000 career points.
Congrats to him. That's
for Jonah Lopez. In a moment, but you had 11, and then included your 1,000th career point. Talk about that.
Yes, sir. It's a big milestone. I didn't really know about it. Coach had told me about it, but I give credit to my teammates and my coaches. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
We're back with Volcano Vista big man Kenyon Aguino. We've been talking before the break about kind of leading up to your freshman year there, and so you get there freshman year at Volcano. What's the adjustment like?
I feel like it was a lot more pace, just being around the older guys, being around dudes that have been like varsity for like 4 years, all 3 years. It was like a good experience.
Right. Who are some of the guys that like took you under their wing and kind of helped you?
I feel like all the seniors, honestly, like off the court, on the court, they were just like really like welcoming, and like give me little tips here and there, tell me like do this, do that.
Well, what about away from basketball? What's that adjustment like? That's a big campus, big enrollment. What's that adjustment like academically? What's that adjustment like socially when you first get there?
It was all right. It wasn't really that big because I know like some of the kids like you see them like playing AU. I kind of grew up with them, so like it wasn't that big of a change.
Did you have like a freshman moment where you're like, oh, it's different now? Here I am, varsity in a pretty tradition-rich program. Was there kind of an aha moment or a freshman moment, or maybe even a learning moment or a setback?
Yeah, it was probably literally like the first game. It was like kind of like it was kind of packed, but our student section was kind of big. And we walked in and I was just like, dang, there's a lot of people here.
Yeah, it's the crowd, right?
Yeah.
What about on the court or in practice? Was there a moment basketball-wise where things kind of like changed, or you had a little freshman moment, or what was that like?
Probably, yeah. Just probably going from like playing your own age and like, like doing good against like your own age. Like people are like the same body type as you and stuff. And then you go and you play like varsity and everybody's like bigger, taller. So
I can tell you though, you're the first guest that ever had to duck when you were walking in the studio. So you still got that, right? What's it like going into a program that does have some history, that has some past success, that has some tradition, that has some expectations?
It's really good, like the cultures, like you get there and you just see like the culture like right away, like what's expected, like what you have to do, and then like just like all of the accomplishments, you just want to like repeat them.
Mm-hmm. And like how does that work like as a freshman? Does Coach Brown have the talk, or is it more the guys telling you about it, or like is it a combination of everything? What's that like?
It's kind of both. Like Coach Brown will tell us a little something, but like the guys are like, they'll be like, well, if you want to do this, like you want to play varsity here, you got to do this, or like if you want to get big minutes, you got to do this. So it's like mostly them telling you like off of like their experience.
So take me into that conversation with that senior. You don't have to name him, but what was that conversation like? You have to do this to get big minutes. What did he say that this was?
I feel like he was just like, you got to like work harder, like get in the weight room a lot, because like I remember like summer workouts, I was kind of getting pushed around. So, but like he's like, got to get in the weight room, work a little bit harder, and then probably just like expand your game. Because like he was like, you can really help us like in this year, and then like that'll just develop next year too.
And as a freshman, is that like obviously that's probably good advice, right?
Yeah.
But is that something that maybe you're not 100% expecting at the beginning? You're just expecting, okay, it's about my skill set, and then someone says, no, dude, go get bigger so you don't get pushed around.
Yeah.
Like, is that something you were expecting, or did that really help you right off the bat?
I was like kind of expecting it, like, yeah, I gotta get a little bit stronger, because like guys are bigger. But like when I like got there, and then it was like, oh, I like really have to get stronger. I really have to get bigger. These guys are like more athletic, so like it was really helpful.
Toughest moment of your freshman year, if you had to pick one on the court?
It's probably, I don't know.
Probably let's go the opposite. We can go the opposite and say highlight as well, right? Like, what's the highlight of your freshman year that stands out?
I'd probably say probably like our first, I don't know, probably the state championship game, either La Cueva or Las Cruces in the pit. Like just having that big crowd and stuff, it was probably like the toughest moment, because it was like the Las Cruces, like going in, like playing against, like having to go in and like guard Isaiah Carr right away.
Right.
And then like the big crowd, couldn't really hear that much. That was probably the toughest moment.
I would imagine as a freshman, you go in as a freshman and you're so successful, then is there almost, I don't want to say do you get spoiled, I don't want to phrase the question that way, but do you almost expect, like there's guys that they go as freshmen, they never go back, right?
Yeah.
But I would think that at Volcano, it's almost like, okay, this is what it's about. This is what we want to do every year. But I mean, how do you take that for granted, or do you work towards that? I mean, I guess what I'm really trying to say in an odd way is like, is it almost downhill from there, or are you thinking like, oh, I have to be here every single year? Is that now the expectation because it was set as a freshman?
Yeah, I feel like you just try to like, there's always like places to get better. So you just always want to like get better, improve every year. You know, just like you get better this year, you help the team more. So I feel like that's it.
I feel like that's the worst way I've ever asked a question on the program, and you still answered it well. Like, that may have been the crappiest way I've ever asked a question, and you still answered it. So thank you. Yeah. So I want to get back into this year, but we'll take another commercial break. And we'll talk about kind of this year, and again getting back to the pit. We'll be right back.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
On. Horace Day with 2. Is Martinez. Here's a long shot from Jackson. Fate is good for 3.
Ice is going to need some stops. They can't trade buckets, though.
They find the big fella again. Wood to Maddox Presser.
Presser gets this ball. Presser working against 2 guys.
Caden will motor it up the floor. Splits 2 and then gets all the way to the basket. There's another turnover. Johnson already got 6. This time right-handed layup. Yes, left hand, right. Steal for Jonah Lopez. Great. 1-on-1 on the Euro. Yes, it'll roll in, and it'll head to the line.
You know,
leaves it down on the perimeter. Stolen by Jaden Johnson. Johnson, right hand layup, no good. There's Bynum to clean up the mess.
Opportunity for Rio Rancho.
they're doing a
Look
really
at him
good
go
job.
get the ball. Look at that.
One more here. One more steal. Bynum on the tip and Bynum on the layup. But the most impressive Bynum thing has been, Steve.
Right here.
Since it's not really a game, let's just break down the cake. Get rid of that graphic. All right, zoom in on this. Zoom in on this. This is Miss Bynum's cake here. So you have some almond like here at the bottom, right? Some almond, very light, very fluffy. You don't want that real, dense stuff. Then you get the fresh strawberries. But here's the kicker: is the cream, the buttercream frosting, right? Because you can't buy that real cheap crap from the store that just tastes like dried sugar. You got to get that real buttercream frosting. That's what makes it, right?
Well, at 67, you saw how quick I got down and back up
and
before you.
2 slices.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So more cake and basketball after this. On the drive, Lopez. There it is. 1,000 career points.
Congrats to him. That's
for Jonah Lopez. In a moment, but you had 11, and it included your 1,000th career point. Talk about that.
Yes, sir. It's a big milestone. I didn't really know about it. Coach had told me about it, but I give credit to my teammates and my coaches. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
All right, we're back. Let's talk about that mural in the Ox Gym. Is that a goal now for every player? I mean, because I finally got to look at it, And it's pretty cool. So, like, you walk into there, is that a goal for players now? Like, I got to get up there.
Probably, honestly, yeah, because, like, you're up there and you're, like, up there forever. Like, every, the younger generations, like, they see you, they, like, ask about you. Because I remember, like, when they first put them up, like, we saw the players and we'd ask about them, like, ask, like, what they did. And then you hear, like, what they did, and you're like, dang.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. It's different, right? Like, not every school has it. Well, no other school has it, right? So that's going to be something that you strive for. But we were talking about goals. Got to the pit early as a young man, and now that's the goal every year, right?
Yeah.
How does that work? Who sets that goal? Is that something that Coach Brown talks to you guys about at the beginning of the year? Is that something you guys talk about as dudes together? Like, hey, we got to get back there. How does goal setting work in a high-performing program like that?
I feel like it's coaches, like, they kind of, like, they put it on you, like, if you guys want this, you guys have to work for it. And then, like, us, we're like, well, we have to get back there, like, we have all the tools to do it. Like, why can't we? So
who kind of, who takes that kind of leadership role on the team now from a player's perspective, right? If it's goal setting or if it's, having to tell a guy, hey, you're not doing it the Volcano way, who kind of takes that leadership role now?
I feel like it's all of the returners from last year. Like, all of us kind of, like, have a part in it. Like, we all speak and stuff. I'll tell the younger dudes, like, yeah, that's not right. You got to do this. You got to do that. And then just, like, we all have our goals with each other. Like, let's get back there. Let's repeat. Just do the same thing as last year.
All right. Let's talk about individual development a little bit, man. Like, where does your game get better? Right? I mean, what I mean by that is during the off season and stuff, what kind of work are you putting in?
I feel like this off season I worked on my shot and my handles, like on a lot of my, like, guard play a lot this off season.
Yeah, the fall league started and you're running point. I was like, what's going on out here? What's going on? So that was a goal, right?
Yeah.
And is that? I love that you chose that as a goal because it seems like the way the game is going at the next level, college and the pro, it's almost positionless, and big guys run the point, right? They can handle the ball. Is that? I'm reminded of J.B. White in that sense, right? I remember J.B. early in his career. It could have been very easy for Coach Cole there in Santa Fe to say, "Oh, you're tall. I'm going to pigeonhole you into the post. I'm going to win a state title with you," and then, But I think what Zach did with JB was really allowed JB to get recruited at that next level is to let him run the point, let him handle the ball, let him play position-free basketball. So is that kind of the goal behind that, improving that part of your game, knowing that that's what the next level's like?
Yeah, I feel like all, like, my coaches and stuff would all tell me, like, like, people like your size and stuff, like, they can play point guard, they can play, like, any position 1 through 4 at the next level. So, like, I feel like that was a goal, just, like, trying to get better, trying to improve in that area.
So if you're watching college hoops or NBA, who are some of the dudes you look up to that you try to model your game after?
Paulo. I'm a Duke. I'm a Duke fan.
You're a Duke guy? Well, that's unfortunate, but right, all right, okay.
Yep.
So what about his game do you enjoy?
I like his mid post a lot.
Okay.
Like his little shimmy and his pull up jumper. He's just big and stuff. Gets to the rim easily.
All right. Breaks my heart that you would say a Duke guy. I was hoping you'd throw like a Jaime Jaquez or a, one of the UCLA guys out there. But no, you're a Duke guy to the core, huh?
Yep.
All right. What about the NBA? When you watch NBA, what do you look at?
I feel like I like Jason Tatum, another Duke guy, but I like AD too.
You're over 2 because I'm a Lakers fan.
I'm a Lakers fan too.
All right.
Anthony Davis. I like Anthony Davis too.
There you go. Okay.
He plays good.
So what do you have to do to get to that level? I mean, obviously that's the goal, right? Is to get recruited and to play at the next level. So what do you have to continue to do? Because I think our audience forgets sometimes how young you are because you're so good already. But what do you have to continue to do?
I feel like just like every aspect of the game, like get better at the little things, like IQ wise, handling the ball, handling pressure, shots, and then just like post work will like always be there too. And then I feel like just like putting all those together and getting better at each thing will help me get to the next level.
When did the footwork get so good? Because that's always what I like. That always intrigues me with bigger guys, because they say a lot of big guys start out pretty clumsy, right? And the footwork's not always there, and that's the last part to come, right? But your footwork's good. And so where did the footwork come from?
I feel like my dad kind of taught me a little bit, but then when I went to FBA and I went with Coach Kevin Fry.
Right.
I feel like it was like every single week we were working on post stuff, so I feel like that's what really like brought it up.
Now, you talked about your parents. Pretty athletic background, family-wise?
Yeah, they're pretty good in high school. They play a lot of high school ball.
Okay. So, like, do they tell you stories like, oh, when I scored this many against this team? And
He showed me some.
What's your big? Oh, he showed you some video.
He showed me some news art. They don't have. They don't have a video.
I didn't want to say that, but all right. So he showed you some articles.
He showed me a little article where he had like it was like 40 and like 19.
Okay. So that is that. So I mean, are those the numbers that you have etched in your mind right now? 40 and 19.
I mean, I would like, because he kind of puts that in the face. Like he has 2 articles. One that says 39, one that says 40.
Okay.
I think he scored
39. Who knows how
39.
accurate they are? That kind of thing. Is that what you're saying?
He says he had 40, and he says because there's 2 different ones. One of them says he has 39. One of them says he has 40.
And where did your dad play?
He played at SFIS.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty legit. So he kind of rubs that in a little bit.
Yeah.
So like even when you come home from a big game. You know, you guys just housed the team by 35, 40. You had a monster double-double. He just comes home and puts that article on the dinner table and says, well, it wasn't 40 and 19, that kind of thing?
He'll be like, man, I would have torched you when I was your age or stuff like that.
Really?
But,
so what does the one-on-one look like? Do you play one-on-one with your pop?
Well, I haven't played him like in the past like 2 years because he's all old and stuff, so he can barely move. But I would beat him now because he always complains.
That's not fair, right? Because you're at peak athletic condition right now, and he's out of his prime. Let's be respectful and say he's out of his prime, right?
I would beat him in his prime.
Okay,
probably.
so when was the first time you beat him?
Probably. It was probably like quarantine when I really started getting a little stronger. Okay. So. He couldn't really put me in. He still put me in the post, but I was shooting. I was shooting a lot. I wouldn't drive in. I was kind of scared, but it was all right.
All right. Lastly, what does Volcano Vista have to do to lift the blue trophy again this year?
I feel like we just have to play consistently. I feel like on offense we have to flow more. Our defense we have to play as more of a team together, and just playing consistently, playing hard, get that full 32 minutes of the game, and I feel like that'll help our chances.
All right, and God willing, and everything goes according to plan. If you and I are both at the pit on the last day of the season, one of us with the microphone on, one of us on the court, I have your permission to use Big Smooth.
You got my permission.
All right, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it, and thank you for watching, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.